Hi, friends. All right, welcome back. We are working on looking at quotes to identify themes in stories. So the last video that we had together, we were talking about how we determine what a theme is. So let's do a quick 30-second review. Go ahead and glance at your screen with me. Remember, an author's purpose is easy as pie, P-I-E. There's three main purposes that authors write. They write to persuade us, to inform us, and to entertain us. And today we're zooming in on that third reason, to entertain. And mostly in entertaining writing, there's all kinds of different plot elements or tools that our authors are using to make the story more entertaining. And one of the tools that authors use is theme. Theme is an idea or concept that reoccurs. That means it happens again and again or comes up again and again in any type of art or literature or song. A theme is this concept that continues to pop up. Okay, it can be a feeling, it can be an emotion, it can be anything that we learn from our characters as they overcome problems in the story. In particular, we learn themes by watching that character encounter difficulties and then see how that character overcomes those difficulties. Oftentimes, it's one constant conflict that comes up over and over and over. And eventually we see how our character deals with that problem. And that is the main theme of our story. Okay, so we talked about that as our last activity. If you haven't already done B2, determine the themes of short stories, which your code is here in front of you, QQS, then you should be doing that now using these notes. If you have already done this activity, then you are ready to go on to the next skill. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at B1, which is actually prior to B2. I don't know why they list it that way. But B1 is looking at quotes and matching those quotes to themes, which is kind of like working backwards. We're going to see if we can do it. Let's go ahead and take a look. You'll notice up here that I have my activity pulled up. XJK is your code if you're not really sure where to find it. XJK, it's in the reading strategies section, and the title is B1, match the quotations with their themes. Your instructions are here in green. They say read the quotations below from Amy Tan's Two Kinds and match each one with the theme or the lesson it suggests. This first theme is in blue on the left. It says parents make sacrifices for their children. The second theme we have available to us is on the right in the second blue box, and it says, being stubborn can prevent us from doing what we are capable of. And as I think about both of these themes, I've definitely seen these themes in my life. I mean, I've definitely seen my parents make sacrifices for me, as I'm sure you have. And I've definitely seen that when I'm stubborn, sometimes it does keep me from doing what I need to do. Okay, so let's see if we can figure out which of these two quotes are relevant to which of these two themes. Your first quote says, Mr. Chong was a retired piano teacher, and my mother had traded household cleaning services for weekly lessons and a piano for me. My second quote says, I might have become a good pianist at a young age, but I was so determined not to try, not to be anybody different. As I look at this top quote, I see that her mother has made some sort of sacrifice. It says she traded house cleaning services for weekly lessons and a piano for me. If I zoom in on the most important words or phrase in that sentence, I see that it's her mom traded is what her mom was doing, and she traded house cleaning services, that's hard work, for weekly piano lessons and a piano for me. Okay, weekly lessons and a piano, those both cost money. Okay, by the sound of this quote, Mom didn't have a lot of money to pay for that, so she made a trade with Mr. Chong instead. Okay, that's definitely a sacrifice her mom was making for her. So I'm leaning towards it going with this theme. We're going to try that first. Let's see if my next quote matches my theme. Reminder that my quote reads, I might have become a good pianist at the young age, but I was so determined not to try, not to be anybody different. Now, we all know that when we have this word but, B-U-T, in the middle of a quote or in the middle of a phrase, it indicates contradiction. There was this, but, and that's one of our big signal words, but this. So we know that with this word but right there in the middle, we see that something was keeping her from being a good pianist. And she names it. She says she didn't want to try. Her determination not to try. Sounds like stubbornness to me. Let's go ahead and put that here. And that's correct. If you struggle, remember, go back to your notes, which I'll pull up for you again, and you can jot these down, that a theme is an idea or a concept, usually a lesson, but not always, that our character learns through hardship. Okay. If we think about what we just did, the very first quote talks about how Amy's mom couldn't afford piano lessons or a piano. So her mom made a trade. Them not having enough money was a problem that our author introduced to us. It was a conflict. As we saw them resolve that conflict, we saw that mom made a sacrifice to make that problem go away. And that's where we get our theme. That second quote was talking about Amy and her desire not to be good at the piano because she just didn't want to try. That's a conflict as well. She was having an inner conflict with herself. She didn't want to try. She didn't want to give effort. And as that problem resolved itself, she realized later she was a good pianist and she probably could have been better earlier, but she was determined not to try. So as that problem of not being a good pianist because of her stubbornness resolved itself later, she realized she should have tried earlier. And there comes your theme. Okay. If you can't figure out what the theme is, ask yourself, what is the problem my character is trying to overcome? And how do they overcome it? And then more than likely, you'll end up with your theme. Good luck.